Every now and again, sequels end up being better. Empire Strikes Back, need I say more? The same just might be true of solo string formations, the latest offering from Fracture Sounds, a sequel to their string formations library. This time we have the ensembles broken down into first chairs, clocking in at just over 12 gigabytes. It runs on the free Contact player. Let's check out how it sounds. You got your dynamics control, which I have assigned to my fader. You have your color, delay, and reverb. Let's see what color does. So it adds a little bit of clarity. We got some delay. If you click on the cogwheel, you get some additional delay settings. You got your reverb. I tried to stick to the Hall. If you've been following this channel, you know that I love the shimmer. But we went with Hall this time. The mix, which handles the atmospheric layers, and then you can control those via the mod wheel or whatever controller you have. Let's just check out the raw sound, and then we'll dial up these atmospheres so you can hear those on their own. Right out the bat, I can tell you soloists is my favorite. You got your perspective slider, which dials back and forth between close and far. And then if you click on mic mix, you can control your close, mid, and far mics independently. I'm going to dial back the atmospheric intensity and the reverb, and let me show you the close versus far. You have your interval controls. So as I'm playing this, you're probably hearing the notes go back and forth between different intervals. You can leave it on smart, so it'll just analyze what chords you're playing, or you can toggle each one of these and play specific intervals. I like the smart setting. I think it kind of does what I want it to do. You have some additional controls. If you click this cogwheel here, you can Shift click articulations. If you want to choose more than one, you can unload each of them, which I have done because it saves a huge amount of RAM. A couple really fun things to show you. When you click on this cogwheel, of course, we have these usual controls, but what I want to draw your attention to is the density control. Okay, so that's going to control how far we're pushing these intervals. So if you want that really noticeable glide between those sounds, that portamento, you can throw it on in heavy. I find that somewhere halfway through is good. If we go over here, we have our arranger. So it automatically defaults to auto mode. Depending on how you're playing the chords, it's going to split them up between the cello, violin, and viola. But let's say, well, I want to hear more of the cello. Click on that, and now in this pink range, it'll give priority to the cello. Let me go back to the auto, and then I'll switch back and forth so you can hear the difference. Leaving on auto will kind of let the engine decide how it's going to split up those notes. But if you want to play the same chord in the same place, I was playing all those chords in the same place. You're like, oh, I really want to hear more violin. You can do that. 2D will throw everything in there. 2D I find gets a little bit busy, but it's there if you need it. Again, I think the auto just kind of does things very, very well. But to break it down in those separate sections, very, very cool stuff. When you download the library, you'll get the chordal textures, which I have loaded up here, some unison textures, and their layered blends, which I will show each of those to you. Let me shut off the mic. I'm going to play through some of these different articulations, and then we'll go through the unisons and layer blends. As you can see and hear, the articulations are doubled up with flotandos. So you're just going to get the same articulations, but just a very, very light touch, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, let's dial up the unison textures to see what's going on there. Okay, so you have the same controls, but we just have some different articulations. So in this case, you're still going to have the arranger priority, but because they're unisons, you're not going to get all those intervals in there. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. So if you want the articulations, but you don't want the intervals in here, then you're going to go into the unison folder. And again, you're still going to be able to fool around with that arranger priority. You can have the atmosphere layers, the mic mix, all that fun stuff. The layer blends are starting to pop up into a lot of their libraries. Very, very cool things. So you have your 3-layer system that you can add each additional layer using the mod wheel or whatever fader you have. You get your reverb, delay, lo-fi, high pass, low pass. They've introduced a sub feature if you want more of that low end into these sounds. You can solo the individual ones. You can use the shuffle button. You have a pitch shift up and down. You can lock articulations. Let's see what this does. This is where it kind of almost turns into a synth where we've layered the atmosphere layers with the different articulations. You can dial those up. Kind of have like a 3-in-1 sort of thing. You have this synthy kind of layer blend. You have your unison textures, and then you have your chordal textures, which handle all of the interval functions. One other thing I'm going to show you real quick, you might be wondering, is the sound difference between the solo string formations and the full ensemble version of string formations. So let me just do a quick sound comparison for you. So as you can hear, the sound is pretty obvious. Because you have first chairs versus an ensemble, you get a very detailed, smaller sound. So they're going to layer really, really well. Let's dive into the composition. I'll show you what I had going on. Layer blends. To start off the composition, let's check this out. We have this all layered with Spotlight piano, particularly because I wanted you to hear the glides and the sounds moving back and forth between the intervals. I want to keep it very, very spacious. Chordal, the alternations. We added the chordal glides on top of that about partway through. The chordal glides are stunning. They're my favorite articulation. They're absolutely gorgeous. Then I brought in some unison textures just to run octaves underneath. We have the expressive sustains. I used the flotando glides just as a much softer, kind of more delicate texture. Let's listen to that. Yowzers, what a sound. Flotando shimmers to end the song. Let's listen to that. And just over top, there was one part that seemed a little bit empty. I was curious to see how these were going to blend with the soft string soloists. So I brought in the cello legato and I record a line. Let's listen to that. Love that portamento. It's almost like an airy sound to it. And you'll hear in the composition, it blends beautifully with these samples. You're going to find in the final mix, the piano is going to be a little bit hidden in parts. Probably wouldn't have mixed it that way, especially being a piano player. But I really wanted the strings to be up front and center. So the big question is, who is this for? I think it's very specifically targeted towards owners of string formations. And if you're looking for just a little bit more finer detail, it's going to work beautifully with that library. It works fabulously with soft solo strings, with their piano stuff. I mean, you guys know, you don't need to watch this video to know that Fracture Sounds does strings and pianos extremely well. I think between the libraries, if I had a choice, I think I would almost take the solo string formations over the full version because I love the fine detail and I love the way that you can really hear those glides coming through. But again, if you're looking for something that needs a little bit more oomph, that needs a larger section, then you get your full Big Daddy ensemble string formations. The intro runs until July 1st at a discounted price of $89 US. They've also released some bundled discounts with some of their other libraries, so if you want to save some cash. That's it for me, my friends. Go forth, compose, make beautiful music. What are you waiting for?